Hearing this, our recently demoted hero, Lao He, felt a surge of inspiration and decided to become the savior of the world. But in the next second, Lao He was left dumbfounded by such ridiculous demands, feeling like he was watching a low-budget comedy. Lao He paused, smiled involuntarily, thinking, impossible, terrorists aren't this naive. But his smile soon turned meme-worthy. The terrorists actually played a recording of him encouraging them to blow up a bridge, making the live stream feel as cold as a freezer. Clearly, this was a lesson for Lao He, but luckily the live feed was cut in time, allowing him to breathe a sigh of relief. However, when he walked out to the studio, he found the leader had swapped him with a more eye-catching female host. The leader thought Lao He's negative role would hurt ratings, so abandoned him, breaking all promises. He angrily pointed at the screen. He couldn't believe his leader's untrustworthiness. When fuming, terrorists insisted on talking only to Lao He. Plot twist faster than TV. The leader had the female host try to persuade them again, but in the next second, bam. An explosion shocked everyone, except Lao He, who saw a golden. He took advantage of the chaos to run back into the studio, asking to swap the microphone for headphones, as if playing Who's the Spy. While putting on the headphones, Lao He dialed in to warn the terrorists that annoying the TV station was a bad idea, but as soon as the staff left, the terrorists threatened there was a bomb in the headphones too. At first, Lao He couldn't believe it, but upon hearing the death countdown in his ear, his mood plummeted like a roller coaster into darkness. With bloodshot eyes, he asked terrorists why they targeted him, but was more concerned about the bomb's authenticity, quickly connecting to the studio. Subtitle: Lao He anxiously inquired who had put the headphones on him. Yet the leader repeatedly urged him to start the live broadcast right away, truly a prime example of making mistakes when in a rush or when suddenly the headphones emitted urgent beeping sounds. Terrorists warned Lao He against leaving or revealing the bomb, or they'd kill him instantly. They clearly intended to pressure the president using Lao He's name. They wanted to get the basic justice for a colleague who just passed away. But Lao He couldn't think about being a host. He just kept stalling and wouldn't go live. In the end, the Han River Bridge suffered a second explosion. Only the middle supports remained, and the situation was dire. Lao He was left no choice but to waive he had to feign calmness and begin the live broadcast, as not only his life was at stake, but his ex-wife and a dozen citizens were also trapped in the bridge, like missing the last train. Worse, terrorists gave Lao He 10 minutes, threatening to blow the supports if the president didn't apologize live, turning Lao He into a ticking bomb. Lao He didn't dare take their threats as a joke. This was about life and death for him and his ex-wife. Losing his cool, he had to call the president's office. While waiting to connect, the terrorists seemed to appreciate his cooperation and started sharing some heartfelt confessions, like they were venting their pent-up emotions. The ransom they demanded equals the sum of 3 colleagues' compensation. What a coincidence. But as soon as the president's office connected, Lao He's heart sank. All they talked about was taking action, zero concern for the hostages, just promising the public an explanation. Right now, to protect the president, he was hidden underground, which felt downright absurd while the citizens were in danger. Meanwhile, the president hid in a safer spot. Lao He panicked, and with time pressing, he tried to persuade again. However, the leader waved for them to cut off the president's call, leaving Lao He in disbelief, like his brain just hit a pause button. He hurriedly explained to the terrorists that he'd keep trying to persuade the president to come apologize, feeling like he was starring in an unscripted drama. Just then, Captain Park stepped in, her expression serious, introducing herself as the head of the anti-terror unit, truly a girl boss moment. She said they'd soon locate the criminals. Buying time was key. Lao He's savior. Lao He began playing footage of the hostages trapped on the bridge, showing a car teetering at the edge like it was auditioning for a dramatic fall. The father in the car pushed 2 kids out the window, then the car suddenly plummeted like an action stunt. The father never resurfaced, leaving Lao He speechless, internally repeating, "If only I had called the cops earlier, maybe this tragedy could have been avoided." He had never so vividly felt the consequences of his own selfishness, but there was no time for self-blame. Captain Park urged him to keep pushing. He needed to appeal to the terrorists' compassion, invoking the terror just caused by Mr. Wang Najira. Those kids lost their dad, he added. Mr. Wang just mentioned he has a family. I'm sure any human would have a change of heart. Mr. President, the terrorists transferred the pressure, reminding everyone there was only 1 minute left to detonation. Facing life and death, Lao He could no longer care about his image. His eyes were glued to the timer, hoping for a miracle. At that moment, Captain Park revealed helplessly an armored car entered the TV station 2 minutes ago, and chaos broke out in the studio immediately. A bagwig arrived. Lao He, moved to tears, thanked the government on camera. But when he saw the visitor's frozen expression, he couldn't help but think, "Oh great, another girl boss moment. It turned out to be the police chief investigating the incident, leaving him to ponder, does the chief actually have more credibility than the president? The chief cut him off, sternly asking, is this photo from August 13th, 1958, real? I warned him, the government will never cooperate with your TV station, the chief stated, and he instantly knew he was toast, like he was the sacrificial lamb. The chief even held up a photo of the terrorist's son, threatening, if you don't surrender, everyone will know you have a terrorist dad. His classmates and friends will find out. Haha, now that's a prime opportunity. Now he was anxious, realizing that threatening innocent people this way was downright unfair. On the other end, the terrorists warned he to stop the chief immediately or they blow him up. That's when he realized the chief's headphones were a ticking time bomb. He shouted at the chief to stop, but the chief looked at the hint in disbelief, as if he'd just seen a ghost. Just as he reached up to take off his headphones, a loud bang went off, and the chief was dead on the spot. His heart shattered, watching a tragic show. Captain Park arriving finally spotted the bomb. As she approached, the piercing beep resumed, forcing to push her away. Hurry and call the bomb squad, he urged, while all the staff bolted at the mention of a bomb, leaving all alone in the chaos.